Welcome to Think Big with Michael Zellner. My guest today for episode 159 is Greg Green. Greg is a General Superintendent for RKA Construction. RKA is a residential and commercial contractor based in Memphis, Tennessee. The company was founded in 2011 and serves Memphis in the Mid-South, Horseshoe Lake in Arkansas, Pickwick and Savannah, Tennessee, and also now Oxford, Mississippi. Quote, RKA focuses on a detailed craftsman approach with each project, whether custom building from the ground up or seamlessly crafting additions and renovations, unquote. Thanks for joining me today, Greg.
Yeah, thanks for having me.
My pleasure. Before we get started today, I wanted to tell everybody about our two sponsors for the podcast, Buckley's Grill and Sleepy Z's Masonry. Buckley's Grill is a hidden gem in Memphis. They've been around for about 30 years. It's located right at the corner of Poplar and Estate in East Memphis. Co-owners Jeff Fiorinelli and Ken Dick have done an amazing job over the years. From the minute you walk in the door, you're welcomed by a very friendly staff. It's usually one of the guys that owns the business. It's right there at the host stand or the hostess stand. The food is amazing, amazing steaks, and they honestly have the best cream spinach in the world. So if you've never been there, you got to go and try the place because Buckley's is just amazing. And it's locally owned. And so I always push locally owned businesses. Sleepy Z's Masonry services the West Tennessee area, Memphis in the Mid-South, North Mississippi and Eastern Arkansas. They're a member of the West Tennessee Better Business Bureau, West Tennessee Home Builders Association, and Mason Contractors Association of America. Whether you need brickwork, stone, cinder block, or concrete, Sleepy Z's can do it all and take care of. If you just need one brick replaced all the way up to having a whole house bricked or stone, they can take care of it for you. Quote, Sleepy Z's Masonry, where you'll rest easy while they're on the job. You know, Greg, tell us just a little bit about your childhood. You know, I believe you grew up in the Memphis area, maybe a few good memories that stick out that when you think about them today, they still make you smile or laugh a little bit.
Well, I don't know. That's kind of difficult to say. There's so many of them and so few in between at the same time. It was kind of an odd time. I don't know. I mean, I grew up in Memphis, born and raised most of my life. Spent a lot of my time in Raleigh, Bartlett area, where I grew up. And, you know, it was a fun place to be. You know, it was back in the day when you'd go outside 90% of the day instead of being inside. You'd ride your bike around the neighborhood. You'd play neighborhood hide and seek where people would get mad because you're playing around their house that you're not supposed to be. But, back in the day when BB gun wars were a thing, nowadays people would freak out.
Yes.
Bottle rocket wars. Those are probably some of my favorite memories, my friends hanging out and, just doing some fun things of that nature. I was an avid skater at the time. I skateboarded for a long time when I was younger and probably got the carpentry bug at that point in my life when I started building little half pipes and mini ramps just to play with. They weren't very good, but they did the trick. They got me what I needed when I was doing what I was doing. So, I mean, those are probably some of my more fond memories.
Was Raleigh Springs Mall there when you were young?
It was still there for many years after even. That holds a lot of fond memories too. It was kind of the place to be in that time. Raleigh Springs Mall, the Mall of Memphis, going to those, those were iconic places that you always had a good time when you went.
Yeah. I had a good friend that worked at Merry-Go-Round in the Raleigh Springs Mall.
Okay.
Yeah, so I went out there frequently. So yeah, it's definitely a fun place back in the day for sure.
Yeah.
You started 17 years old as a framing carpenter. You said, quote, I entered into construction after helping friends and family with small projects over the years, unquote. For some of our audience that may not know, what does a framing carpenter do? And what did you enjoy most about construction industry when you first got started?
Well, framing carpentry, basically the skeleton of your home. So it's what holds up the veneer brick, what holds the drywall, all the plumbing and all the electricals routed through it. So it's all the wood structure, could be steel structure, but generally wood structure is what you think about. It's all your studs, your joists, your rafters, your sheathing. So I essentially did all of that for quite a long time in my career. it's probably, I guess one of the things I like the most about doing that is you're working with your hands all day. You're using your mind because geometry, as much as I hated it in high school, is honestly what I use probably more now than I ever thought it would be possible. They always give you that adage of, oh yeah, you're going to use this one day, and you're sitting there going, there's no way in hell that's going to ever do it.
Right.
And unfortunately, my geometry teacher's right. I actually have to use it every day in order to make money and stay happy. But I enjoyed it because it allowed me to use my body, allowed me to use my mind. Some of the people that you come across in that industry, that it has a penchant for being, not necessarily the best people in society. People seem to view construction differently. But the frame carpenters, they were kind of the ones that everybody viewed as, they just couldn't make it anywhere else.
Right.
And it really isn't true. And that's I liked it for that aspect, because I met people who maybe other people gave up on or didn't give the time of day, and they came to be some of the most intelligent, most thoughtful individuals I probably run across in my entire career. It's kind of amazing the walks of life that run in and out of the construction industry, especially the framing trades and carpentry trades.
Right. Yeah, I remember back when I was about the same age, graduating from high school. I was 17, right about to turn 18. And my cousin Jesse started Zellner Construction Company back in the 60s. It was Clark and Zellner, then it became Zellner Construction Company, general contractors. And my dad and Jesse were first cousins. And I said, yeah, I'd love to get in that business. And I remember my cousin Jesse picking up a hammer and saying, this is how you start. And I remember thinking, Memphis summers, 100-something degrees, humidity. No, that's not what I'm going to do. I ended up selling Cutco knives when I was in college and going into sales rather than going into that, because I was like, I'd rather be in an air-conditioned home than being out there in those humid Memphis summers. So I didn't go that way.
It definitely can be brutal. I mean, that's first thing I got to do when I started framing was, oh yeah, by the way, you see that pile of wood over there that's 10 feet tall and 20 feet wide, and you got to move it all over here, guy. That's what you're going to go do. So I toted lumber for probably about 6 months for my initial phase, maybe a little less. That time's been a long time now. But that's what I started doing.
Right.
So picked up a bunch of lumber and carried it for a bunch of guys and asked a lot of questions and learned a lot of stuff.
From there you went into remodeling, and then you became a superintendent and general contractor. You did both new construction, renovations, and custom remodeling. Eventually you landed at Barnett General Contractors as the right hand to the owner. Tell us about Barry Barnett and what he taught you about the business and his philosophy that maybe sticks with you today.
Well, Barry and Buddy, they were both, they're brothers that owned Barnett General Contractors. I mainly dealt with Barry on mostly. Probably the one thing I'd say about both of those guys is, I still love them to this day. I mean, they had a huge impact on my life during that period of time. I mean, I worked for him for 21 years. So it's a long time. So it wasn't just a business relationship. I mean, it became kind of overused as that term is, it's kind of family.
Sure.
And so, family to me is an F word too. So don't use it too often because it's just disgusting. But it was a large piece of my career, and it also introduced me to some things that I probably might not have had the opportunity to enter into or even know were there, with some of the projects that I got the fortunate ability to work on. And Buddy is probably one of the most intelligent guys I know. He was an extremely smart individual as far as just general knowledge. He was also a construction guru, and he was a great businessman. Barry Barnett, same. I mean, he could, if you asked him to go nail something up or hammer something in, he could still do that too. It's not just that he ran a business; he physically did it. He learned it and learned the trade. But through that 21 years, I got the opportunity to work on some projects for some of the most wealthy in Memphis. Some of the most well-known architects, developed some relationships with those people over the years, and got the opportunity to take their visions and turn them into reality. And had my hand in every part and piece of every project.
Right.
What I guess, part of the business that, I learned a lot about what not to do from Barry and Buddy. The things that they've learned through their long lesson in the business of, well, we've tried this, this didn't work, this didn't work. This is what you want to do because we made this mistake and it cost us money, or we made this mistake and it irritated a client. So I learned a lot of what not to do. Right. The biggest impact was that quality matters. Our customers are adding, even today, they're adding onto their home, that they're either their children grew up in, or they're buying a new home that their kids are going to grow up in, or they're building a home their kids are going to grow up in. And you're trying to make sure that it lasts with good memories. You don't want them to remember, oh, that fell off the wall, that broke, that did this. So it was a lesson of always quality and value were very big. We wanted to make sure we got our owners, got our clients what they desired, what they wanted, what they liked, and delivered it, the best we could. That was an important lesson for me during that period of time.
Did you
go ahead?
No, you go ahead.
It was about the relationships that we were developing. It wasn't just, there's a home there, you've got the relationship. I mean, by the time I got done with a lot of the projects I was on, I knew, the kids, I knew the owners, I knew what they're into, what they're not into. And it just, some of them I became friends with, some of them I still talk to now. It gets more and more occasional, but they're still, talk. And it's kind of cool. You become part of their lives at that point. And it's kind of neat. I make the joke sometimes when we're doing a remodel, especially is, well, you're already married, but you're going to have a new husband because you're just as much. So.
Right. Did you guys build some of the homes in the cloisters?
A couple properties in the cloisters we built. Yes. Built a few in there, behind the cloisters as well. Was part of some projects over there that were probably some of my most memorable.
Beautiful homes back in there.
Beautiful homes. There's some great people in there too. So that's probably one of the biggest things is you wind up working for some people that are just exceptional humans, and you're just like, okay, what can I do to help you?
Right.
When they call, it's like, okay, I'm here. What do you need?
Right. One of my lifelong friends, Barry Peltz, him and his dad, Don, founded Corky's Barbecue. They lived in the cloisters and they've been there for years and they love it. So yeah, just a beautiful area back there.
It's a great community in there. It's a lot of great people in there.
Yeah. For a short period of time after working with Barnett, you worked with Screen Mobile, which I believe is a deck and patio contractor in Memphis. And eventually everything that you did, putting all that hard work in, starting at the age of 17 years old, led you to RKA Construction, where you began working on September 3rd, 2019. How did this relationship come about, working with owner Ryan Anderson and his team?
Well, with the Southern Screen, that was kind of an interim between, it was about 6 months between Barnett and working here at RKA. It was kind of needed a reset in my career, my life. I had to get away from what I was used to.
Sure.
And do something, and no offense to Mike Riley, who owns Southern Screens. They mainly do like your phantom screen units, your automated screens, your motorized screen units. Basically turn patios into livable space in our beautiful summers with mosquitoes around. Really great company, great guy. And it allowed me to reset my mind a little bit and get kind of away of some of the tensions and stress that were building over my career and led up to me leaving Barnett General Contractors. And during that period of time, I think I got a phone call from Michael Christie, and he had mentioned that Ryan was looking for somebody, and would it be okay for him to pass my number along? I said, sure, fine. And I got a phone call from Ryan. I went and met him, rode around some of his projects with him, and of course, truth be said, Barnett had things to say because he was new in the industry, and how it always is, business.
Sure.
Somebody's going to have to say something about somebody because that's the way Memphis is, and all of this is fine. Competition breeds success. So, competition is good. But, had some conversation with him about that and some of the things I've heard over the years, and, realized that, what I was hearing was not the accurate statement by any means. And I also realized that there was an opportunity for me to take what I know, a lot of my knowledge, and pass it on in a way that can actually help our industry that's hurting greatly right now. We've gone through the act of everybody's telling their children, let's go to college, let's get a degree. And now we've got a lot of people with degrees, and they have jobs that aren't in the environment that they taught it, they studied in.
True.
And we have a lack of skilled craftsmen from that reason. And that also goes into the superintendents and project managers and how to manage a project, how to perform on a project for an owner, how to give them what they're looking for, how to help an architect realize their vision for their client. And I felt there was a need for that. I liked what I saw with Ryan. I liked what I saw with his company. I liked what I saw his vision. And, I said, I think I could hang my hat here and enjoy it. And I still do. I've been here since, for 4.5, 5 years. And, there's always going to be those moments where you want to tear your hair out. You can probably see a little bit of it today. But it's great for that. It helps me have a goal in mind to not let my knowledge fall to the wayside. But at the same token, the people I'm working with and the things I'm doing have taught me so much that I was not getting elsewhere either. Right. So, it's a tit for tat. So I'm giving and I'm getting at the same time. And I think it's making a really great, just company, for everybody to work in. And it's been an experience that I probably would, do again,
Right. Luckily you had those 6 months in between because because of a little bit of, you're talking about maybe a little bit of a burnout. If you had gotten offered that job immediately after leaving, Barnett, you might not have taken it. So that 6 months probably helped you.
You're probably right. I would have probably run as fast as I could and said, I'm just not doing it.
Right.
It was at that point in my career and my headspace that a reset was required. And, it was a fortunate thing. It happened and allowed me to get where I needed to be where I am today.
Right. And I always talk about the power of a moment, how, one small decision that you make, how the impact that it has on your life. And, it was wasn't a small decision, but it was a decision that you had to make in between. And, obviously it led you where you are today, and you are exactly where you're supposed to be. So that's awesome.
Well, I hope I'm where I'm supposed to be. I feel like I am. I'm got a lot of great people that are around me every day that I get to hang out with, and they're coworkers. There's a lot of them I consider friends, and it's we've got some back office humor too, so it's
right.
all good there. It's an experience that I would not trade for anything.
Right. Quote. Formed in 2011, RKA is a general contractor located in Memphis, Tennessee. Created out of love for building and the desire to provide a better client experience, our focus is simple: provide superior quality craftsmanship and customer service in everything we do, unquote. Such a great mission statement. I saw a picture on the company's website of these three young guys sitting in RKA's first office back in 2013. The picture, I believe it was James Poe, Alex Welford, and Ryan Anderson. And not that James looked old, but Alex and Ryan looked like they maybe just got out of college. They looked so young in that picture. It was pretty funny. I've had an opportunity, in I guess close to a year that I've been working with you guys, to work with Doug McClellan, Kip Gordon, Alex Brand, Jessica Lee, Hunter Levengood, Wesley Ashley, and I'm about to start working with Tom Power on the Pickwick job. And I apologize if I left anyone out. I don't think I did. I have to tell you that everyone that I've worked with on the projects that we have done with you guys have been incredible. I mean, seriously, very incredible. Is someone like me who took over for Steve, who had been in the business for 30 years. I've learned a lot from your team at RKA, and everyone's been very, very nice to me, and that says a lot. So I was going to ask you, what do you enjoy most about working with all those people, the other team members, and who I haven't had a chance to meet and work with yet?
Well, the fun thing is that we've got a variety of people in our office. So we don't have just one type of person, one one way of looking at things. That's what I like. Everybody brings something different to the table, something new, something that you might not have thought of.
Right.
And the idea that, it's knowledge is the barrier of learning. So, that's one of my fun quotes from, I've been rereading the Dune series again, out of Children of Dune. Knowledge is a barrier to learning. And essentially, the more you know, the more you think you know. And those people help break that.
Right.
Everybody in the office helps break that thought process, because, when you least expect it, you get something that surprises you and you're like, damn it, thought of something I couldn't think of, or wow, that really impressed, you get those aha moments and those impressive moments. It's like, wow, these people are freaking awesome.
Right.
That's probably the best thing that I would say that's there, is that I can be surprised almost every day by people there.
Wonderful. Being a general superintendent is a job with a ton of responsibilities. I believe you're, primarily in charge of overseeing projects and programs, ensuring operations within the company adhere to standards and requirements. You supervise daily procedures on construction site to ensure the project's completion within budget, schedule, and quality standards. Of course, there are more duties than that, but that's a lot on your plate just right there. What strategies do you employ to ensure projects get completed on time and within budget? Because as I've learned, sometimes as a project is going along, homeowners can decide they want more things done, or they change something that they had originally had scheduled with you guys, and then the budget and the time frame can change, dramatically. So how is it to try to stay within budget and time?
That's a loaded question. That's probably one of the most difficult things in construction. I think the old school is there's you can have there's a triangle, and you can have two of those three things. You can't have them all.
Right.
So it's a balancing act is really what it is, of trying to maintain expectations with our owners' visions, our designer and architect's visions, our own thought processes about where our goals are aligning. And trying to take that into a more holistic view to get to the bottom line, which is, let's get the house built, let's try to make this timeline, and let's keep it down as much as we can. There's a lot of things we do to maintain that, and that's bringing in a lot of great people that can help oversee those tasks and deal with the minutia and take care of it well. Probably timeline, the biggest stretch on that is going to be our trades right now. We're at a deficit in our industry for quality trades. There's a lot out there that may or may not be suitable, and we want to find the people that are going to be. They're going to have the great reputation of quality. They're going to be, ethical. They're going to be there when we need them to be there. They're going to take care of what we need. They're not going to, they're there as a partner in the process. It's not just us versus them, or them versus us. It's us together for our clients.
Right.
And that's the ultimate goal, is that we're there as partners doing what we need to do to make sure that we're pushing that line. And that goes back to our relationships with our partners, our relationships with our owners, and as well as our designers and architects. It's a challenging road to try and take those personalities and bring them in to where it aligns to a point that you get what you need. It starts with a good estimation. Our pre-construction team, they go into the project, they dive into it, they price through things, knowing what their owners are looking for, after going through the plans, which invariably are going to change as the process, moves forward. So we'll go through that part first. We'll run through all those items. We'll get a kind of a baseline idea of what is the job, what is it really going to cost. So we've got kind of a high-low estimate that we do. So we get that idea out there. So, it could be here, it could be here. It's not necessarily guaranteed either way, but, is this in the idea you were thinking? And then we'll dive a little deeper into that. Once they say, yes, that's what we're looking for. That helps get this process started right. So that allows us to try and pick and select the trades that are going to be applicable to the project, whether it be for a quality standpoint, quality timing standpoint, or budgetary standpoint. There's always a little bit of a sacrifice because quality, of course, everybody knows takes budget, takes time.
Sure.
There's a little sacrifice you have to have in there. Sometimes you have to spend more in order to achieve that level of quality that's expected. It's a difference between a Toyota and, a Toyota or a Honda and a Rolls Royce. They're both going to get you from A to B. They're both going to be good cars. They're going to be reliable. They're going to take care of you. But at the end of the day, when something happens to one of them, one's going to cost a lot more to fix. One's going to be more expensive on the front end. One's going to be more expensive on the back end. So we're trying to find that balance of quality without going too far beyond that line. Scheduling is that's probably back to the trades again, trying to make sure with how busy they are, the quality trades, the ones that we want on our projects, the ones that take care of business, the ones that do a good job, the ones that are going to be there when, the home is done and something's wrong and they're going to come back and take care of it. And we know that.
Right.
There are far and few between. And so we try to make sure that we're using those trade partners in order to have their home, our owners and clients' home, sustainable for the long term. So if something we've done was incorrect, we can correct it.
Right.
That's the idea. We don't want, we're all going to make mistakes. It's going to happen. Something's going to go wrong on a project. Somebody tells you that it won't, they're lying. Something will absolutely go wrong on a project, and it's the way we correct it that makes a difference. It may have to correct after you've been in the home and it's happened. The drawer falls off. Our cabinet makers are going to come and take care of that and fix that. We're going to stand behind it as well, but we'd like a trade partner standing behind it with us versus us holding the entirety of the project in our hands. It helps mainly our homeowners. Right. It helps make sure they've got a seamless product, seamless integration, and something they can be proud of at the same time.
Awesome. Speaking of that, you said, quote, "The hardest part of the job can be letting go of preciseness and exactness, even if it's within acceptable limits," unquote. I can feel you on this one because I am sometimes anally organized. I have everything not only on a computer, but I make files for everything and have a backup. I'm still old school paper files. I'm still old school calendar on my phone and a written calendar, calendar book. And I'm also a perfectionist, so I understand. I have to take many deep breaths daily sometimes. What do you do when you have situations when you go through things like that to not stress yourself out so much?
Well, not stress myself out probably doesn't exist, to be honest with you. I'll probably do more damage to myself than others can certainly do for that reason. It's expectations and standards. Without either, you have no idea where you're going and what you're doing. And, fortunately over my career, my standards have been probably above and beyond most others in the industry here. Maybe to the point of ridiculousness, some might say, but it's part of delivering that top notch, that top quality product that's something ingrained in me. Why mediocrity is not acceptable. Just okay is not acceptable. So it's a lot of times you'll hear the word, "Well, I think I could sell that." I don't like that phrase personally, because essentially when you're saying I could sell that means there's something not quite up to your standard, but you're going to allow it to pass through for whatever reason that may be. So I try not to, I don't like it when I hear that phrase, I guess. It's taken a lot for me personally to come to the realization that not everything is the Taj Mahal. Not everything is the grandiose, $1 billion event. It takes a lot for me to come down off of that ceiling, and it's hard to maneuver from point A to point B to point C. And I'm not saying C's bad. C's just not what is normal for me.
Right.
In at least my expectations on quality and trades. And I've had to step back and go, okay, our homeowners are looking for value. That's honestly where we are at the end of the day. It's not necessarily about, hey, I've got a lot of this and a lot of this. I'm looking, what's a value to me? What makes the difference? What makes me want to say, wow, I have this? What makes them do that? And I have to step back into their place a little bit and say, they're not going to care about, the 16th of an inch over here that's going to cost, a couple more dollars. I can use that. It's a better use of money and time somewhere else. So that's honestly how I've come to terms with it, maybe, is by realizing that I cannot control every single little detail as I used to.
Right.
It's probably detrimental for me to control every detail like that. It's probably actually going to, have an extreme deficit created because of that. But at the same token, it's more about what our customers are looking for. Right. At the end of the day, are they happy with it? Do they love it? And are they raving fans of RKA? If that's happened, then everybody has done exactly what they needed to do. And it allows me to sleep better.
Absolutely.
Knowing that the people that are our patrons are the ones that are happy.
I absolutely love Wesley Ashley. She's so sweet, and her son Lawrence is adorable. I love babies, and thankfully, she shares pictures with me when I see her. She said of you, quote, "You've got to know that he is the king of puns, like really good ones. Sometimes you won't even realize he's made a pun until later," unquote. I love that. Have you always been that way?
I've always been a little cheesy on that note, yes. My whole family, my wife actually chastises me or kids with me for Christmas time because that's usually my dad and my brother are around. And it's kind of a family tradition of humor, good or bad.
Right.
And she'd probably say it's bad, but she enjoys it too. She's lying if she doesn't say she enjoys it. But I try to always keep comedy around. I find comedy is kind of the cure for unwellness or unhappiness. It helps even reorganize my brain. I can be in a bad mood and I have a little quip or a little pun. It helps to reset me at least a little bit different. Maybe the people in the back room would say something outside of that, but it puts me in a little different mindset when I get into that mode. So I utilize that as a tool for others when they're in bad moods or they've stressed out. Kind of an icebreaker, kind of oh my gosh, I can't believe he said that kind of mode that gets them off target, but lets them reset back in a better way. And it does the same for myself.
Yeah, comedy is so important, especially, with you talked about with your family and people like that, because those closest to you should be able to do that and be a smart aleck and have fun and mess with each other. And I'm the same way. Like if I ever get myself in a bad mood, there's a few shows that like Married with Children and Seinfeld that I'll turn on and watch. And, those are shows I grew up with, in the late 80s and 90s, but the comedy in those shows, you just can't help but laugh, and it just gets you out of that mood. So I know exactly where you're coming from.
Yep. Comedy is great. I mean, it can diffuse so many situations given the right circumstance. You got to know your audience.
Yes.
And it's helped in many avenues for me over the time, just to, it can diffuse some tension that's there that might otherwise have gone the wrong side of right.
Sure. What motivates you in your job as General Superintendent, and why do you have so much passion for the construction industry each day when you go to work? I mean, I don't know, it's kind of me. I've always enjoyed creativity. I'm not an artist by a normal artist, so to speak. Sure.
I've always enjoyed building. I've always enjoyed the why of things, the how of things, and structure. I love structure, any kind of structural item in all. Part of that's the framer in me. I love trying to figure out the engineering behind it. And, why is it that we're doing this and not this? Why do we need shear walls? Why do we need all these hold downs we're doing nowadays that we didn't see 100 years ago or 30 years ago? Why are we using those things nowadays? What's the reasoning behind that? I guess curiosity is one thing. I'm curious, so I like to know more. I'm an information seeker. I was the guy that, in third grade, I'm sitting there reading the book. I was reading Asimov when I was in third grade. I had a pretty high acumen for reading, and I'd always run into words. I'm like, well, I don't really understand what that word is. So I'd go open a dictionary. Like, okay, now I understand what that is. That's kind of construction to me. It's like, okay, well, I know what a 2x4 is. I know what a 2x8 is. I know what an LVL is. I know what a rafter is, but all these other parts and pieces that tie into them, hold them down, hold them together, and then go on to make finishes. What about those guys? Or what about that light? Why is this light better than that light for this situation? Well, there's just something there that just sparks my interest. It's just the wanting to know why about all the products. And there's so many of them out there nowadays, it drives most people nuts, including me. But right. I spend a lot of time researching new products, new ideas, new thought process when it comes to construction. Just the how is okay. The why is the most important to me. And I think that's probably the lesson everybody needs, is the why. Nobody does anything unless they know why. It's like, the little kid asking mom, you got to go to your room because you got to go to your room. Why? Well, because you did this. Well, why? Because I did that. And the questions keep coming. If you know the why, generally you're going to have the understanding and have the reason to be able to accomplish that goal in a better way than you would if you had no idea what that concept or idea was. Right. If you're just told to go do it, now you're just doing something somebody else told you versus learning how to do it yourself. So the why is the most important part of it, because if you don't know that, you're never going to learn it. Right.
Go ahead.
And it's just, I don't know. I guess that's what motivates me, is the why. Why is Wesley in construction? Why is, Alex in construction? Why is Kip in construction? What brought them to it? What can I do to get them their why? Right. How can I help expand their why and their knowledge? I want to give it freely. Back in the day when I was coming into this, it was still a very dog eat dog world. And it's like, this is my trick. This is my method. This is my world. You're not going to have my information. I'm not sharing it with you. And I don't want that. I want, here, have it. Everybody needs to have this. The more informed you are, the better you are at what you're doing, and the better you can also help direct traffic.
You sound like you still, after so many years, you're like a sponge. You still just love to absorb new information.
Absolutely. It's, you will, I think Asimov said it best. You can go to, I'm probably going to butcher everything I'm saying with him because I don't remember the quotes exactly, but that's just me. Essentially, you never stop learning. The person that stops learning is the person that's dead. Yeah. So whether you're living and moving, you're still dead. So once you've given up. Essentially, you've said, I don't need anything else. I'm good. I'm as good as I'm ever going to be. I can do no better. I can be no better. And I think the number one thing for me is that I know I can do better. I know I can help better. I know I can train better. And how can I do that unless I'm learning myself? So being a continual, it's continual education. I like to equate it to a physician, a general practitioner, physician, surgeon, stuck on the same thing. If we were, most of us would be dead now. Yep. Or wooden legs. We're practicing what we do. And if you're not practicing, that means you're trying new things. If you're practicing, you're also honing skills you already have. And if you're not doing that, you're not going to ever get any better. You're not ever going to change. You're not ever going to evolve. And evolution is kind of the nature of our being, we're not here to be static creatures. And when you stop learning and stop looking and stop thinking, you're static and you're gone, essentially, in my book. You're no longer, why are you here at that point? If you're not willing to do anything, why are you still here?
Yep, you're just existing at that point. Right, exactly. Being on top of each job and project is huge in your industry. And that's another thing that I've loved about all the superintendents on all the jobs that we've done with you guys. Attention to detail, big or very small, is crucial to keeping customers happy. that obviously is very important to RKA for both residential and commercial projects.
Absolutely. We don't exist without customers. If customers aren't happy, then that's going to get around as well, and we're going to eventually be out of business.
Right.
It's the customers have expectations that come to us. They come to us for a reason, because whether we're the best or not, remains to be seen. I think we're always trying to be better. You're never going to be the best, because if you're the best, you've stopped learning, you're static now. So I think we're always just trying to be better at what we do. And I think our customers realize that we really are here to build a product that is going to have longevity, that people can be proud of, they can show off, they can sit in and feel good that they have it. And I think that's probably the most important part of all of it. At the end of the day, when the customer's not satisfied, it gives me pains.
Right.
Like, where did we go wrong with that? What did we do wrong? And how can we make sure that doesn't ever happen again? Due to the volume of work that we do, because we are, I would say we're probably the largest, custom home builder in Memphis, based on volume. And there's certainly great guys out there still building custom homes. And because we're building more of them at one time, we're open to more critique, I think, than others are.
Sure.
So there's more opportunity for things to go wrong. Their percentage is higher, and it allows things, those windows to open up. But when it does open up, or something does go wrong, or something does happen, we dive into it as a leadership team. We dive into it as a team period, and find out why and what we could have done better to make sure it doesn't happen again. And I think that's the most important thing as part of that learning process. It's there's some guys out there that they'll be like, I don't care, I'm never going to do business with them again, I don't care.
Right.
Not our mentality. Our mentality is they are, if we don't have raving fans, raving customers, people saying RKA did a great job and I would hire them again, then we failed, honestly. It literally would hurt me personally. I think all of us here at the company, everybody has put a lot into it. Everybody puts a lot into it every single day. All the project managers, all the superintendents. They don't, their brains don't shut off when they go home. They're thinking about this stuff. It wears on their soul too when something doesn't go right. You can see it.
Yeah.
And, we want to make sure that we're doing right by them as well, that we're giving them every bit of tool at their disposal that they can succeed and not have to have that feeling when they go home that they failed, or that they didn't do something right. And, I think, ultimately it's part of our culture. We spent a whole lot of time working on that and trying to maintain that, where most construction companies, they do things differently.
Sure.
Can't speak for all of them. I think everybody's kind of moving along this line. I think it's part of the nature of the beast in the world we live in, which I think is great. But it's at the end of the day, it's just as much about our customers as it is about the people that work with us, and work for us. It's if we're not taking care of them, they're not going to take care of our clients or their clients, because it's really their clients too. They're taking it home too. It wears on them, and it can become daunting at times.
Right. I think that social media over the last 20 years has changed a lot of things. And, just thinking about it, like even in your industry, because some companies that maybe did not pay attention to as many details and had that attitude you talked about, I'm never going to see that person again. Well, that one person that you didn't think you were going to see again, you might go online and see a really bad review that can mess you up. And that's why maybe it's even more important now for those people that weren't doing it right before to do it the right way.
Yeah. Well, social media, the internet, it has changed the entire world. It's changed every single trade. It's changed every single business in the entire world, and it can make or break you in a heartbeat.
Absolutely.
And, it used to be Memphis is still a really big, small town. It's very much word of mouth in the community that we're working in most of the time. and somebody knows of what we've done, or knows us, or knows some of us personally, and knows what we're about, and there's a reputation there that can be harmed in the blink of an eye, and it's stop. It's hard when you think that can happen, and it could have been a misunderstanding. It could have been, somebody just said the wrong thing at the wrong time, and it was taken the wrong way. And that can destroy somebody. That can destroy a company, the reputation, and it can hurt. And the idea behind that is we want to make sure that we leave nothing ununderstood with our clients and with us. We try to make sure that at the end of the day, we're all still talking, even when things go sour, because they're going to. I've been in this a long time, and there's always a moment where it's the roller coaster effect. When you start the project, it's like, oh yes, 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 yes. You get to a point, and it's like,
yeah.
And it wears on your mental state, our owners and us, and trying to break through that cycle is difficult, and it only means through understanding. And it hopefully keeps us from getting to that point where they leave that review that just, there's no way we want to ever work with that company again, or they're absolutely horrible. And nobody looks beyond the words nowadays. You go to Amazon, you're trying to figure out exactly, what you want to buy and get the reviews. And by the time you're done reading the reviews, you're more confused about the product than you were when you started.
Yes.
You're like, I'm still not sure what I'm going to buy, but it's $20. Screw it. I'm going to buy it. I hope nobody ever feels that way about us.
Right.
That, I don't want, I would not like that if that ever happened. If we're just like, well, fine, it's $20, whatever. Right. It's just, it's a different world we live in, for sure. And at the end of the day, people are what matter. Relationships are what matter. Whether it's with our trade partners, with our owners, with our employees, with the people we live with, the people we work around all the time. That relationship is probably the utmost importance to have a positive result in anything you're doing anywhere.
Right. Quote, RKA's core values: we are craftsmen, we build relationships, we honor our commitments, we are transparent, we are friendly, unquote. In less than a year that Sleepy Z's Masonry, that we've done work for you guys, I've witnessed all 5 of them from you. Are those core values, in your opinion, a big thing that you personally believe that sets RKA apart from maybe some others in the business?
Yes. I mean, that's something it's not just words. It's a mindset. It's a culture. I mean, that's what matters to us. I mean, if you don't do what you say you're going to do, who's going to want to work with you? Who's going to want to work for you?
Right.
If you don't, you don't build relationships with people, it's just going to be a revolving door that never solidifies, and everybody suffers. If you're not a craftsman, how can you even build something worthwhile that people want to have and show off and enjoy? Nobody wants that. You don't want just something slapped in just because it was cheap and it got the job done. They care about what they're building with us, and we care about it as well. I mean, I think everybody that works for RKA has that mentality that we don't want to just build it because we're building it. We want to build it because it's a unique, it's a crafted unique item, crafted unique home that nobody else has. It may have a lot of similarities, but it's theirs and it's unique. So it's not just words for us. Being transparent is extremely important. I mean, it's about honesty. It's about culpability. It's about accountability. If you're not showing your hand, people always think you're hiding something. We don't want to hide anything. We want to say, look, this is where we are. This is what we've paid out. This is what you're going to pay. You're giving us what we've done. We're not going to do anything outside of that and get paid for it. We want to be open and honest. We want to do that as best we can. And they're great as far as just ingraining in yourself, but they're also good just as a mantra too. you can sit there and think about it. Well, am I really being transparent by saying what I'm saying? Am I being open and forthright? Am I being honest? Am I honoring my commitments? Am I friendly about how I'm delivering this? I'll probably have to use that one more than most. Most people will probably tell you I'm not, I may appear friendly at a distance, but, closer up, I'm not as friendly most times. It's part of who we are. It's not just words on a plate. We kind of, those words came from who we are and what we want to be. And it's a goal to strive to, it's a goal to maintain. And honestly, it keeps most people motivated.
Right.
It keeps me motivated. It also keeps me in check too, because we all are human and we make errors and we may delve in the wrong way sometimes, but using that as a quick back check is really good to go, okay, wait a minute. Whoa, I've gone beyond where I need to be. I'm in the land that I shouldn't be in right now. And I think it helps us that way.
Absolutely. When I owned Sleepy Z's mattresses from 2013 to 2019, working in the community and with the community was really important to me. We had a really close relationship with the Memphis Police Association and the president, Mike Williams, who ran for mayor in 2015. I thought would have made an amazing mayor, but he just didn't have the money behind him at the time. We held fundraisers at the store for fallen officers. We had an annual event that we did 3 years in a row called People, Police, Peace, where we brought people from the community together. I had a big parking lot at the corner of Kirby Whitten and Summer in the building that I had that, police would bring out their big, tank police cars, kids. We would have, just fun stuff, and where people and police could get together and they could see that, hey, police, they want to help you, and just, bringing people together. I know RKA does a lot, giving back to the local community too. And when I saw that, it put a smile on my face because it shows a ton of heart and a ton of character within the company. What are some of the things that you guys have done, to give back to the Memphis community?
I think there's lots of things that other, individuals in our company do on their own. Some of the initiatives we've done since I've been here. One of them is yearly. We have a fund that we basically, it's a local fund. I can't remember the name of it, and everybody's probably going to chastise me for it. But there's a select group of vetted nonprofits and vetted funds that we allow people. We donate the money to. We create a fund and say, all right, and everybody gets a chance to pick which one they want to donate their money to. Nice. So who do they want to help? Who do they matter the most to? And we've done that every year at RKA. And I think it's pretty big deal. Doesn't come out of any individual's pocket except for the company's. Yeah. And it's does it make a humongous difference? I don't know, but does it help? Yes. I figure if we're helping one person do something better than where they were, or one group do something better than, that's a win-win. We've got an initiative with, cleaning up Memphis. Can't remember what the name of it is. Everybody's probably going to chastise me again there. But, we go out and we do local events where we cleaned up Tillman Street. We got everybody together from our office. We walked out there. We picked up Tillman Street, got a huge amount of trash off the ground out of the city. It's just little things like that we're doing as an initiative. And there's plenty more in the background running. There's a lot of companies going to say, hey, look what I did, and look at this and look at that. And that's not really what we're trying to do. We're doing it because we want to do it. We don't want to just go, hey, look, this is what we did. Just come check us out. It's honestly from the heart. I do live in Hernando. Memphis is still my hometown. Hernando is an extension of Memphis, in my opinion. Sure. I still work there. I spend most of my time in Memphis, and I think it's a great city. It's a city on the verge of shifting, and there's a lot of great people in the city that are doing a lot of great things to help bring it back to the next level. You go up north and you look at cities like Detroit, and there's some local benefactors there, some unknown angels that, are giving a lot back to the community, and you're seeing the transition. And I think Memphis is on that same brink. And the more people that are working, living, more businesses that are giving that back, we're going to see a resurgence in Memphis that's never been seen before, I think. I mean, it's disheartening to think that, some of these communities have gone, straight down from what they used to be. But you go into those areas today from, what used to be a Raleigh Bartlett area and things like that. There's initiatives there to build that community back up. It kind of had a downslide. It's getting a resurgence now. Things of that nature that I think are very important. And, if you're doing well enough and you're taking care of business and you've got time to dedicate and give back, I think it's a worthwhile venture, regardless of what you're doing. I don't, if it's one thing, it's all that matters. If 1,000 people do one thing, there's 1,000 things done.
Right.
And $5 1,000 times is a lot more money. So, that's kind of the idea behind it. It's not just about what we're doing. It's about spurring other people, hopefully, to do the exact same thing and getting engaged to be able to propagate it and turn it into something that's self-sustaining and make Memphis more than what it is.
Right. And it is the little donations that matter. It's great to have those big companies and big people that can give money. But, like you see St. Jude, asking for $19 a month. I took a tour of St. Jude about 7 years ago, and I took the mini tour, which is about 45 minutes. And the person in charge told us that it costs $2.8 million a day to run that hospital. So I was thinking, and they explained that those $19 donations are what makes the difference. And so, yeah, it's the little things.
Yep. It's always the little things, the little details. Yeah. That's what matters, it's always in the details.
Definitely. My longest quote unquote relationship with anyone at RKA so far has been with Alex Welford. We've been working on a project with you guys off Walnut Grove near Goodlet since September. A huge addition and renovation on a home. He's such a classy, nice, and very knowledgeable guy. He said of you, quote, "Greg is a disc golfer and really likes very hot peppers," unquote. Why do you enjoy disc golf so much, and how hot is too hot for you?
Well, speaking on Alex, he and I's relationship has grown greatly over the past few years. And, I have a lot of respect for him because his expectations that he has, his standards are very high. And I appreciate that about him. He's always trying to, sometimes, the way it's said might be different than, what should have been said, but the meaning behind it is what matters. And he means well by it.
Right.
And I appreciate that with him very much. As far as disc golf, I love disc golf because, unlike regular golf, ball golf, when you're mad, you can throw your clubs. So, that's probably my favorite thing. But generally, disc golf, I get out there. It's people. There's people from every walk of life playing disc golf. There's, it's just amazing who you run into and the class acts and the characters you run into that are such as good people. It is honestly amazing, the community that surrounds disc golf. It's also just great. You get out there, you're hanging out with your friends, you're hanging out with your buddies, you're meeting new people. It's one avenue I've had that I can go out and I could shut down the rest of everything else and just think about disc golf, and just the time where I am and just be where I am. So that's why I enjoy that the most. It's also exercising without even knowing you're exercising, because generally it's about 1.5 miles, 2 miles of walking. And, you don't know it by the time you're done, but you've done, a lot of, 10,000 or 12,000 steps. You're like, all right, yay, look at me.
Right.
So that's why I love it. It goes back again to people and relationships. I've met a lot of great people playing disc golf, and it's just, it became a passion of mine and still is.
Awesome.
Peppers. Well, that's another story. I love hot peppers for sure. Most people are thinking, oh, hot peppers, a couple of jalapenos. Oh, that's hot. No, jalapenos are pretty mild for me. I run the gamut of all the spicy peppers. So, Carolina Reapers, which is some of the more well-known, habaneros, ghost peppers, Carolina Reapers, scorpions. I enjoy them.
Wow.
It sounds really weird, but my mouth actually salivates when I talk about hot peppers and hot stuff. And oddly enough, I cannot eat bell peppers. They give me indigestion. So
But the others don't?
The others do not give me indigestion, so I can deal with those all day long.
Wow.
But it's not that they don't burn. They do burn. They absolutely burn. But it's a good burn.
Right.
So it's just like, okay, I can do this. But some peppers, I guess, like a habanero that has a very fruity flavor to it. Most people are like, oh, it's just hot. No, it has a fruity flavor quality to it that's very unique to that pepper. Even though it's fairly hot pepper, it's kind of, I'd say it's a medium hot pepper. Ghost pepper, it's still got a little flavor to it, but a lot more heat. You start getting into your Carolina Reapers, they really have no flavor and just all the heat. They actually kind of taste burnt, to be honest. They're better not straight, they're better in stuff. So to add just that heat level to it. But I put spice in just about everything I eat. I just can't help it.
Right.
I actually grow peppers at home. I say I do. My wife really does it, but I built a garden. That's it. So, but I've got several coming this year, which are going to be pretty unique. I've got some more exotic hot peppers that most people don't hear about. One of them is called the God Stopper. So I've never had one. I'm kind of excited.
I got to hear about that after you have that.
Oh yeah, there's chocolate habaneros. They sound like, oh, they're going to be chocolate. No, they're just colored chocolate, a little bit earthier tones, and some other things like that I've got that are a little more unique than just your Carolina Reapers.
Right. I love pepperoncinis, and I mean, when I think about some of the hot ones I've had, probably not even close to what you've had. So, I mean, yeah, interesting. That's awesome.
If you think of a Scoville scale, which is what they use to measure the heat of a pepper, it used to basically be, how many drops of sugar water it took to quench the heat. So a standard jalapeno is somewhere between 5,000 and 8,000 Scoville. And you start moving up the scale, a habanero is somewhere around 300,000-ish Scoville. And then you get up to your ghost peppers. Your ghost peppers are getting into the 750 to 1 million scale. Your scorpions are in that same range. And your Carolina Reapers, like 1.2, 1.3 million, could be higher than that. So it's just whatever they tested at that time. But it's unique.
Pepperoncinis must be almost nothing then.
Pepperoncinis are probably like in the maybe 1,000-ish.
Yeah.
I've had some hot ones pop out here and there, but I enjoy it.
Yeah. So. Yeah, that's awesome. Tell us about Ryan Anderson and this great big company that he's built, with the help of obviously some very wonderful people, in a pretty short period of time.
Ryan, what can I say? He is a extremely intelligent, smart, business-minded individual that cares about people. I don't know how else you could sum that up. It's you obviously have to make money to have a business and support families. So, if you think about it, he's got a lot of families he's supporting with what his ventures in his business. And that it takes a lot to do that. And he genuinely cares about the people that work for him. There's a lot of people that say, they've got, this guy's got, a lot of clout, a lot of money, and a lot of this, and he's had his own business, and he doesn't give a crap about people. You've got all those guys in the world, and Ryan will take the time out of the day to talk to everybody. It's not just he's not just there for the money. He's a good-hearted individual. He cares about the community. He cares about Memphis. He cares about all the people that work for him. He cares outside of work. It's been a good experience working with him for that. He wants to build people. He wants to develop people. He wants to help people. He wants people to grow, help them grow. He wants to grow himself. He's never going to be satisfied with just one thing, which is part of what drew me, is that, I recognize that same level of drive, that it's not about where I am, it's about where I could be and what I could be doing. And you got to respect that with him.
Right.
he's done a lot in this. He's done a lot to help develop this in the last few years. He realized that he could not do it himself and be good at it. He could have probably done it, but how good could each part and component have been? So he sat down and he decided he needed to bring some people that are talented at certain things. He brought myself in. I'd like to say I'm multifaceted, but I really know building. I'm good at building stuff. I'm good at, thinking outside of the box. He's brought in, Earl with accounting, CFO, Bradley, COO. We've got some other new components and new players. I mean, it's realizing where his failings were or where his lack of being quality could be. He brought that person in to help make sure that, at the end of the day, our customers are going to be happy and not going, well, you just screwed everything up, and it's all going to be Ryan's fault.
Right.
He realized he needed help, and that, that's probably, it's hard for most people to admit.
Absolutely.
Hey, hush. So it's humbling for me. Somebody that is as successful as Ryan is in his ventures, that he's still, he wants to be better. It's not just, he's not satisfied with where he is. He's not going to stand still very long. And I like that. I don't like staying still. Static is death. So.
And they say the smartest people bring in people around them, to help their business, grow even faster and better and doing the right things, because you're right. He could have gotten probably a lot of this stuff done, but it would have taken a lot longer and stressed him out more and not been able to help as many people. And, bringing in you and all the other people obviously makes a huge difference.
Humongous difference. I mean, it's a different animal now, and it's a better animal. And, he's still there leading the charge. He's still, envisioning what could be. And we're trying to help make sure that we make that difference too.
Right.
And how can we help get to that point that we're where we need to be?
Right.
I think that's the ultimate team goal that we have is where can we go next?
Right. Speaking of animals, your dogs have had such a fun time playing in the background while we talk. Tell us a little bit about your dogs that are running around.
Well, the fluffy one is Eowyn. So I don't know if many of you know, Eowyn was one of the riders of Rohan in the Lord of the Rings. So she was a badass, and that's kind of where she got her name. Not that she's a badass, it's just I thought that was a good, cool name for a dog.
Right.
And Bellatrix is the more traditional looking German Shepherd, and that's Bellatrix Lestrange, which is what my daughter wanted to name her after Harry Potter. And Bellatrix Lestrange and her are probably similar because they're a little quirky, a little odd, a little off, but love them to death. But no, they're sisters. I think they came from a litter of, I think it was 11 puppies, maybe. One of my wife's friends had a German Shepherd show up on her porch, had 11 puppies, and needed to get rid of some. Wow. So we said, we'll take one. We got there and we're like, no, we're going to take two.
Right. So
now we have two. They're running around happy most of the time. And, her Frisbee's not here, but Eowyn is a Frisbee addict too.
So I think I saw, was it red?
It's pink. Yep.
Okay.
Yep.
So yeah, I think I saw it in the background. Someone was playing with it. Yeah. So
we spend a lot of time. In fact, when I come home, I have to go throw the Frisbees for both of them for about 10, 15 minutes, or they get kind of upset with me. I've got a little bit of land out here that they run on, and I can throw them pretty far, and she'll do it as long as you'll throw it. And whole thing, that's like her security blanket.
Yeah, that's wonderful. The song Silent Lucidity by Queensryche has always been a favorite of this 80s and 90s kid. The vocals are beyond amazing to that song. Video has over 62 million views on YouTube. What does Greg Green love so much about the band Queensryche that I read? That's one of the 5 bands that you said that you could listen to forever.
Well, it's their variety. I mean, it's not just one thing. You listen to every album and there's something new. There's a different piece. There's a different component. There's emotion tied to it. It's Operation Mindcrime. The entire album is one story. Then there's Operation Mindcrime 2. That entire album is the same story extended. And it's just they're unique in the world. It's not the same thing over and over again, and they're telling stories. They're, you can feel the emotional components brought through them. The album Promised Land, there's a lot of great songs on that album. Diving into the emotional state of man, and when you're a little crazy, you're a little sad, or your family's kind of screwed you over. It's a good mix that just it doesn't get old.
Yeah.
That's probably one of the only bands you recognized off of that list.
It was. It was. And I tell you that I went back and I watched, and I haven't listened. I used to have the cassette that with, I forget what album Silent City was on.
Empire.
Okay. And I listened to all the time, and I hadn't heard that song in years. So when I saw that, when I was researching you, I went on YouTube and watched the video again, and literally, the lyrics, I will be watching over you. I will help you see it through. It brought me to tears. Because just remembering, and things that we talked about off air before we, got on here, about, my dog's passing away, in the last year. But it also brought back memories of, those times, 80s, 90s, and the music back then. But that song right there, and I still knew the words, it's a kind of thing that's repetition. People don't realize you're not trying to memorize the words to a song, but you hear it so many times, you automatically, your brain processes it and you memorize it, or almost all of it. And even if you haven't heard it in 20, 30 years, all of a sudden you hear it on the radio or whatever, and you're like, oh my gosh, I knew almost all those words.
Well, science will tell you the easiest way to remember something is put it in song. The human mind is geared towards melody with the lyrics, and you're going to almost always remember it if you put it to song. So that's why songs are so easy, or even the musical components. I mean, you can sit there and, you hadn't heard it in 30 years and you listen to it and you're like, exactly where everything's going to land, what's going to hit. And you're like, or you'll know exactly where it's off. So you instantly hear, oh, why is this crappy cover being played right now? Because it's not quite the same.
Yeah.
Your mind picks up on that stuff, and music is kind of a tie-in to your cortex.
Yeah.
But but Queensryche is one that I could listen to all the time, along with the other ones, Gojira and Clutch, I think I mentioned. Which if you hadn't listened to Clutch, I recommend it. They're just rock band.
Okay.
Not death metal. I'm a death metal head too, but it's just rock.
You ever listen to Shinedown?
I don't typically listen to them. I like what they put out. My son had tickets to their concert when they came to Memphis last, to the Forum. With 3 Doors Down, I think, and Shinedown, and seeing him live, because his friend did not go with him, so I got to go, and seeing Shinedown live opened me up a little bit more to them. I had a lot more respect for them and enjoyed what they had to do. They put on a hell of a show.
Yeah,
I was pretty impressed. They came out, and I can't remember the guy's name. Is it Zach or
Zach Myers?
They came out and they gave him the key to the city.
Yeah,
he's a Memphis boy. And then Jelly Roll came out and actually, to greet him and all that. And they actually went through and did Simple Man cover together. So, it's pretty big, it's a pretty big night. But I was like, wow, this band puts on a hell of a show.
Yeah. I had the honor of interviewing Zach on my podcast within the first few months that I started it. One of the reasons why I've known him since he was 14 years old. I used to own a little bar on the Highland Strip called The Library from 95 to 98. And we had live music. And he was just a kid. I remember his dad knocking on the door. I was waiting for beer deliveries. And his dad, said, hey, my son, has a little band. They want to know if he could, play for you. And I was like, he had a little, small, little amp with him and everything. And I was like, sure. I wasn't expecting much. And I'm waiting, and all of a sudden he plugged in and started playing. I was like, oh my gosh, this kid's at 14, he was that good. And he just turned 40, and just phenomenal. And yeah, the band has more number 1 hits than any other rock band in history. They have 19 number 1 hits, and number 2 is Van Halen with 13. So
Wow.
just to give you that.
Pretty
you
big.
know,
It's pretty big.
Yeah. So yeah, incredible band. But yeah, it was wonderful to be able to interview him. And yeah, because I'm a big fan of them too. You've been married, is it Janae?
Yep, you got it right.
Okay. For over 26 years now. Tell us a little bit about her and how you guys met, and also share with us a little bit about your kids. And I think your daughter's name is Madison. I don't know your son's name.
Son's name is Tristan.
Tristan. Okay.
So Janae and I met, let's say I was 7th grade at Colonial Middle School. So that's when we met. We dated a little while before I moved to Chicago for about 1.5 years, 2 years. Subsequently, of course, broke up because long distance relationships aren't good. She was the love of my life then, and she still is now. We were apart till I was about 19. We kind of rekindled it and got back together when I was 19, and been with her ever since. She is an extremely strong woman. She's kind of take no punches kind of person. She will dish them out just as much, which I love about it.
Right.
I love that. She's just, she's not going to take it lying down. She's going to get up. She's going to do it. She's going to hustle. She loves working outside. She loves mowing the lawn. I don't care for the lawn. She does. She likes mowing it. So,
Right.
I'll mow it when I need to, but she'll mow it most of the time because she enjoys it. She likes outdoors. It's just, I don't know. She's something special, and we have our moments. Like everybody does in a relationship.
Sure.
I would not want to be with anybody else. It's just it's a unique thing. I love it. And my son Tristan, he's older now. He's 26, and he just got through with a 7-month electrician's school. So he's technically, electrician, not really certified yet because you've got a lot of program to go through for apprenticeships and journeyman and all that. But he's actually going to wind up being a maintenance guy because he's actually the maintenance guy at the church here in Hernando Baptist. He does that at the church where he's played with a lot of electrical and all kinds of other stuff, taking care of the church out here. And so now he's moving on to another company while he probably still maintains some of the church functions too. Then my daughter Madison, she's down at Mississippi State, down there in college and studying psychology. Would y'all hush? So, hey, chill. They like playing.
Yeah.
So she's down there studying psychology. She's actually back for the summer. They actually are all gone today. They went to Nashville to go see Breaking Benjamin.
Oh my gosh, I love Breaking Benjamin.
They all love Breaking Benjamin. So they're going. And my daughter's birthday's coming up soon. That's kind of her birthday present. So that's where they are today.
Yeah, it's funny. I was after watching Silent City, I was watching the video for Breath. Breaking Benjamin. Yeah, I think the song was like 20 years old now. I was like, oh my gosh, that old?
Yeah,
wow.
It's hard to. It makes you go, oh man.
I know. Like we're told when we're younger, life goes by very fast, and you don't believe it. And then when you get older, you realize, yeah, it does. Especially when you get older. Yes. What are the most important lessons you've learned in life?
I've learned a lot of them. A lot of what not to do. That's for dang sure. Probably won't go into those. But honestly, probably one of the biggest lessons is, the people you are with, make sure you give them who you are. Don't hold back who you are with the people that you love, because what's going to wind up happening is they'll never get to see the true you. So that's probably one of my big ones.
I love that.
And, be a consummate student. Never stop learning. I don't care if it's, it could be something so mundane, so simple, but it's something new that's going to kick those synapses in. It's going to make you think about it. Something that's thought-provoking, something that makes you think. Find it. Do it. it's probably the best way or the best cure for boredom. Rabbit holes are fun sometimes. Can be detrimental, but they're mostly fun.
Right.
Those are probably the biggest things. Well, maybe the other one is I'm not always right.
Yeah. If someone is interested in using RKA, what's the best way to get a hold of you guys?
Probably the best way is call our office first. Call our office number, and then Anita. Love her to death. She does a fabulous job there. She'll get all the information to be able to pass it along to our pre-construction team. And then the right person will be able to get back with them to get all the details. That way nothing gets lost in translation from somebody who's not necessarily construction savvy. That way it goes directly to somebody who understands what's going on a little bit more, kind of knows the business a little more on that aspect, and can really help out. That would be the best way to get a hold of and get the process started. And that's something we're big on, is process. I mean, if you do not have things hard and fast in order, things that you do on the regular, and you're not repeating them, you're just going to always be an amateur. So it's the difference between the professional and the amateur is consistency, and you can't be consistent without a process. Same thing. You gotta get out there, and he wants to be a professional basketball player. He's going to shoot hoops, and he's going to have a process. He's going to go out there. I'm going to do it this way and this way and this way every time. I'm going to go through this cycle, and that's kind of what we want to make sure we do, so we don't leave any stone unturned. We don't miss something that's important for somebody, miss something that could be detrimental on our end, and make sure that at the end of the day, our vision of offering the best construction experience is had.
Awesome. Greg, I had the opportunity to meet you last summer when Steve brought me in to the RKA office to let I was taking over for him here in Memphis, and you were really nice and you were welcoming that day. And, I appreciated that, because not everyone is that way in life when change happens, for sure. It's been, as I said, a pleasure to work with you guys, and I look forward to a long relationship with RKA. I appreciate you coming on the podcast today. It's been a lot of fun talking to you and hearing some of those puns that you did have today, and some of the stories that you've shared have been wonderful. So thank you so much.
Well, on that respect, I appreciate what you're offering RKA too with your services. It's very unusual and greatly appreciated when somebody else that's asking for our business, that's coming in and taking care of our business and our projects, actually calls us and says, "Hey, can I help you with anything? What can I do for you? Do you need me to do anything for you?" It's refreshing that we actually have somebody like you doing that. I've heard nothing but good things from everybody who's having interaction with you. That you were probably the most helpful, the most on top of it that they've dealt with in a long time, and that means a lot more to me personally than some of the other things. So your willingness to get in there and help us, your willingness to ask the questions, your willingness to do what you need to do, and then just getting back there and pushing our PMs too. Like, hey man, I'm ready. Can we go? That's awesome. We're used to having to do the exact opposite and pull and pry because of just the nature of the beast. And but thank you for that.
Well, thank you very much. I appreciate you saying that. That means a lot to me. So thank you so much again for coming on today.
Yep, you're welcome. Thank you for having me.
Thank you.